Hi, this is Kendra Wood, and I did my J-turn project on the cottages, and that is where old people that have dementia, where they lose their mind, they can't like do things for themselves. So they help them whenever they go there. And I expected this to be a fairly easy project, but it really wasn't. But I did learn many things. I met some very cool people, and it really changed my life. Honestly, I think it did. And I'm going to tell you about some of these really cool people first. Alright, who I met was, the first person I met was Harold. He grew up in Idaho, and his life, he said, was very good. And he was very funny. Whenever I first met him, he kind of said the same thing over and over again. Like, I would ask him a question, and he would just say the same thing, and he was pretty funny. And his advice was try to make every day a happy day. The next person I met was Dwayne, and he was 94 years old, even though he didn't really act like it. He grew up in Missouri, and his hobbies were farming, and he said that he wouldn't really like to repeat his life, which, I don't know, he didn't really sound like an unhappy guy, so I don't know what was wrong with his life, really, but, but he had no advice for me. But the next person I met was Michael. He is 63. He didn't really act like it either. He grew up in many different places, like Oregon and Africa. His hobbies were flying planes, which I wouldn't have expected that, but yeah. But his advice was to work a job and keep it. Michael was one of the ones that I played cards with, and I played lots of games with, and he was one that I mostly spent most of my time with because he was just a nice guy and he was funny. And he actually talked to me. Some of the other residents were like snobby, and yeah, so he was better than the other ones. The next person I met was his brother. His name was Scott, and he was 59, and he didn't act like he was 59 either. He grew up in many different places, like Oregon and Africa, like his brother. He has hobbies that are drawing and making jokes, but he still draws and he still makes jokes, so they're kind of still his hobbies. His advice was to be a good kid and don't curse. The next person I met was Henry. He was 95. Well, he is 95, I guess. He grew up in Michigan and Ohio. His hobbies were traveling with his wife. He said that he traveled all over, he said. He was a very nice man, and he had lots of sons, and he was very nice, and he's the same religion as me, so we talked a lot, and he's really funny. He makes jokes also. His advice was to be a good Christian and to make religion part of your life. And the last person that I'm going to tell you about that I met was Benny. He grew up in Missouri. He's a very short man, and he's very funny, and he makes jokes, and he was in the Navy for 20 years. And his hobbies were hiking with his wife. I think he went hiking with his wife. And his advice was to be active. So how I helped out and what I did was I ran errands for my mom and for other people that worked there. I ran like papers in between the buildings, or I went to go get like things from the other building that they needed there, and like I took food to the other building. And I went and got things that the people needed. I comforted residents, and that was hard because they don't make sense, so they don't really know what they're talking about. And so you're telling them to go sit down, but they won't do it, and they don't know what they want really, but they think they do. They're very demented, and so they want to go home, but they can't go home, and so you tell them to go to their room, and then they'll come back like 5 minutes later, and you're like, go back to your room. Most of them don't really make sense, and so you're trying to help them, like I said, but it doesn't really work. I also helped prepare dinner. My mom was one of the ones that was working there at the time, or the same time I was working, and she always has things to do, and so I set the table for dinner, and I got most of the residents to the table also. Also, how I helped and did what I did was I played games with some of the residents. Some of the residents don't like playing games, but Michael was one of the ones, like I said, that would actually talk to me and play games along with his brother. Like Scott would sit on one side of the table and I would sit on the other, and then Michael would be on the other side. Scott would do his puzzle book thing, and he would make jokes to me, and Michael and me would play card games, and yeah, they would actually do stuff unlike the other ones. And the other day I tried to do a puzzle with them, but they bailed on me, so I did it all by myself. I went on a trip with the residents. So on Wednesday the 14th, which was the first Wednesday that I volunteered, some of the residents and some of the people that worked there and I all went to the Middleton cottages for bingo. That was pretty interesting because the lady that I was helping, Dolores, she tried to play, but she didn't really know exactly what to do, and she kept falling asleep. So it was quite funny. I also read to one of the residents a couple days out of the week. Her name was Faye, and she really liked me reading to her. And actually, I think I'm going to keep going back every week a couple times and actually keep reading to her. She really likes it, and I like the book that we're reading. What I learned was unconditional love. One of the residents, Larry, and his wife named Janet, she comes to the cottages every day to see her husband. She cares for him a lot, and the other day I was talking to her. She said that her husband has changed a lot, but she still loves him. Also, when we were on the bus to go play bingo, they were sitting in front of me, and she showed him so much love, but he didn't show any back. I have no idea how someone could do that unless it's unconditional love. It amazes me so much how someone can still love someone even though they've changed, and it's crazy. I also learned what real happiness is, because most of the people there that live there, they don't even have their own minds, and they don't even know what's going on, but yet they can smile and have fun, and even though they're in pain or something like that, or they don't have the best life, they still would play games and have fun and laugh and smile and make jokes. And I also learned how to work in that environment. And I want to become a nurse, but I don't want to become an old people nurse. I would like to become a newborn nurse or something that's in a hospital. But still, it's about the same. And you try to help them and you try to make sense of what they're saying, but you can't, because then they'll just change their mind because they don't remember what they just said. And they don't listen very good, so they're like children, so you have to keep telling over and over again what to do, and it was hard. but I learned a lot, and I'm very glad I did it. And here is my, I guess, my long-lasting. I made a cookbook, and that's what I did, and it was a lot of fun, and thank you for watching.